Hey, what's going on, guys? We are back for our third and final video where I'm kind of taking you guys through what kind of goes on behind the scenes and a little bit showcasing a little bit of what our playtesting process looks like. So we are in the process of creating a prototype. In the first video, I showed you guys, we took a design file, which I have in front of me, and we imported that into Cocktail. In our second video, I showed you guys how to create a template, how to create cards, how to bring this file kind of to life, right? So we're working on our prototype. In our third video, our final video, I'm going to be going over how to create a set. So we need to create a set in order to print cards out. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'll show you what it would look like if we were to physically print them out. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you, I'll give you a brief introduction on how to import things into Tabletop Simulator. It is the program we are currently using due to COVID and everything that's happening right now. Obviously, we can't meet up and playtest like we used to. It's an amazing program, and I can't speak enough about it. But anyways, let's get started, and let's kick this off. So we're going to go right back to where we started, or where we ended, sorry. We're going to go back to Project X. I know we just finished up by creating a template here, right? So we have a card frame. Hey, this is our card frame. Here is our data source with all of our cards. Great. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to create a set. So if you see here, we have another feature called sets. At the top, we have an icon with S star. We can click on the icon, or like I said before, we can go to File, Add New. Let's add a new set. Okay, so essentially the first thing that pops up is it's basically showing you everything that is on that spreadsheet, right? So this is our design file now coming to life, right? It is using the layout that we set up earlier. It's using that layout, and it's showing you everything that is in this design document, right? So now they're all actually cards in Cocktail. Okay, so one of the cool features that Dan has created is he has this little tool over here called thumbnail zoom, thumbnail zoom, because you can't really see these right now, right? So you can definitely increase this. I usually like to use about 5 per line, so it allows me to see the cards much easier. And there's also some really cool features here that Dan created. So at the top you can see we can also filter our sets. So this is everything right now. If we want to filter this, we can obviously filter it by card type or by color, or any other header that you want to put up here can be a filter, which is really useful. You know, if you have a 200 card set or a 300 card set and you just want to filter through a specific set of cards, it's really useful. Okay, so for this video, let's just go ahead and let's create a set. Say we wanted to just print out only the event cards, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to filter by event cards. So it shows you all the event cards in our set. For the purpose of this video, I'm only going to print out 9 of them so you can see what it looks like on a page. That's one full page of cards. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on, all I'm doing is adding one of these. So if I wanted to add 3 animal praise, I would just increase this to 3, or if I've gone too high, you can always take it back. So I'm going to go 1 of each of the first 9 cards. So let's do that. 9, and so now you can see, actually, sorry, that is 6. So that is 12 cards. So let's go ahead and get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I just had that a little bit too. There we go. Should have 5. Okay, so we have the first 9 cards of the sets here, and this is what we want to print out. Okay, so all we have to do is actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and name this event cards. Okay, so we're going to name it event cards. This is the set that we want to print out. So we're just going to right click, hit print, hit OK. I'm going to print it as a PDF so you guys can see what it would look like in a page layout. I'm going to print it. We're going to save it to our Project X file. We're going to call it event cards. Save. I'm going to hit OK. And now let's go take a look at what we got. So here's our PDF. And bam, there it is. So this is what a page would look like, you know. So if we were to print this out, see how it fits nicely on this page. The dimensions are right. That's why we use those dimensions. And all we would do is take this to a cutter. We would cut along these vertical and horizontal lines, and that's basically it. We would cut, we would print, cut, and then sleeve these, and then we would start playtesting. That's essentially, you know, how we used to do things before, before COVID. So that's that. So now I'm going to go ahead and switch over and transition into how to import our sets into Tabletop Simulator, since this is the process that we've been using for the last 5 months. Okay, so let's go ahead and close this out. Let's go back to our cocktail file. Here we go. So we still have our set. So one of the few things that we need to know, the first things that we have to do is we have to slightly alter our layout, just because we are going to be importing this information. So when we are printing this card frame out, these cards, they looked fine, right? And the reason why these will print out fine is because you're printing it on a piece of white paper, so the background will be fine. When you actually look at the card frame, the background, if we're going to import this information, if we import this without a white background, it's basically going to be all black. You're not going to be able to see any of the information on it. So all we need to do is create a white background, which is really easy, following the same steps that we've used before for creating the templates. We just want to draw another rectangle, draw it around the outside. You can just estimate, and then we just want to make sure their dimensions are right. So it's always 0, 0, 735, 1035. And so then all we want to do is just make sure that we fill it with a white background. So let's just go here. Right now it's on white, but it's just that we need to set this so it's not transparent. And now we have a white background. We're going to go ahead and name this. I'll get to why it looks like this right now, because you're like, where'd all the information go? We're going to name this background. Okay, and so now you're like, well, what happened to all our information? So obviously, Cocktail works in layers, right? So we have a bunch of different layers here. And right now, the thing is the background, the white fill, is on the very top layer, so it's covering up everything underneath it. All the data, all the other templates, or all these other layers underneath it are being covered up by this white background. So all we want to do is, you see this arrow right here, we can move things up and down. We just want to move the background all the way to the bottom. So there it is. So now it's basically, you have this white background underneath all the other layers. So that's essentially how the card will print out and how we'll import into TTS. Okay, so we've done that. So now let's go ahead and we want to export this information into Tabletop Simulator. So let's go, let me show you Tabletop Simulator. So let's go to Steam. You're going to go to Store, and then you're going to go to, I think it's already here, but you just look up Tabletop Simulator. It's $20. An amazing game and program. This is what we use for work. It's absolutely amazing. You basically just purchase it. After you download it, it will go to your library, and there's a couple things that we have to do underneath the hood so that you guys can use this correctly. So the first thing that we're going to have to do is you're going to have to right-click on Tabletop Simulator here. We're going to go to Properties, and then Local Files, and then Browse Local Files, which you go to Tabletop Simulator, right-click, Properties, go to Local Files, Browse Local Files. It's going to give us a pathway here. And so essentially what we're looking for is there's a deck editor exe in here that we need to use. So that's what we're going to be importing our information, our set from Cocktail is going to be imported into that deck editor. And that's just one of the tools that Tabletop Simulator uses. It's a modding tool, so we're going to go into modding, and then deck builder, I believe, and then here it is, deck editor, TTS deck editor. This is what we want, the exe. And so what you'll do is you'll just create a shortcut, add this to your desktop. I use this every day, so it's already on my desktop, so I'll close that. And then let's just open up deck editor. This is what it's going to look like. It's very basic. All right, we're going to leave this open, and we're going to go back to our file, our set. So now the next step that we want to do is we just want to export this information into that deck editor, right? So export is the feature we want. We right-click on event cards, and we want to export. So this is going to export these images, these 9 images, into this folder. I don't want it to go into the Project X folder because I don't want a bunch of random card images in there. I always have usually one folder that I use, and that is exports. Make sure there's actually nothing in there right now. Yep, it is clear. This is just a folder that I have on my desktop I created, and I always dump stuff in there that I'm exporting from Cocktail, and I just want to delete it, otherwise it's just going to filled up. But yeah, it's the blank folder I created. We're going to go to export, hit OK. It's exporting these 9 cards into that folder. Let's go take a look. Make sure they look great. They do. So if I didn't add that background, This is what they look like. If I didn't have that background, this would all be black. You wouldn't be able to see anything on it. So we added the white background, looks great. So now all we need to do is go back over to deck editor, hit new deck. Dimensions are fine, these are default. And you're gonna get this black screen, and you just want to take all of these cards that you have in here, and you just want to drag them over in deck editor. And that's it. And they have, you can dump about up to 70 cards in here. So if you have more than 70 cards, you basically just need to do this multiple times. This is also great for counting, right? So like sometimes you're going to be off a card where you're like, wait a minute, I thought I had printed or I was exporting 31 cards. Why do I only see 29? You know, so it's also a useful tool for that. But yeah, so here we go. We have this in deck editor now. So let's just go ahead and export this. Just use all the standard settings. We're going to export this into, let's see, we're going to save it. Here, I'll delete this one. We're going to go ahead and just save it as event cards here. So I'll create a save. Oops. No, sorry, this PNG is going to be event cards. Event cards, save it. So that is there, and that's it. And so essentially, once we've done that, we've now put that in the Tabletop Simulator. So now let's load the program. Oops. So now we're going to load Tabletop Simulator. Sometimes this takes a minute. Okay, we're going to create a game. Don't worry about all these settings. I'm just going to create a table. This means I can create my own personal table, and I'm the only person that can invite people to the table. So I'm creating this table. Let's go ahead and go to objects. Let's make a nice table here. All right, so we've got a rectangle table. Okay, so now let's get our cards in here, right? That's the next step of the process. So all we're going to do is we're going to go to objects. Camera here. So you're going to go to objects, components, and then what are we importing? We're importing cards, right? We want to put some cards in here. That's what we saved. We saved a set of cards. So we're going to do that. We're going to go to, so we went to, sorry, just do real quick, components, cards, custom deck, and then I'm just going to give you this tool. I'm going to right click, oops, sorry, not right click, I'm going to left click, now right click, and then basically it's going to ask me for some information here. So this is the standard width and height of the card. And so what I want to do here is like it's asking me for the face of the card. So what I want to do is I want to go browse for that file that we just saved. So this will just showcase all the information that's on the front of those cards. So it's going to be in documents. That's where I saved it. It's going to be in documents. My games, Tabletop Simulator, saves. Let's see, print master cards. And here it is, event cards. I know the path was a little bit, it's a bit much to get, but you just have to know where you save things. So I'm just going to go to event cards, select it, in cloud, upload it. And so now that's there. The back, do I have a back? This is just if you want a specific card back for the card. Oops, let's mess that up. Sorry. Okay, we're going to do this again. So event cards, cloud, update. The back we're not going to worry about, but a lot of times we have, card backs that we use for a lot of our games. That's not necessary right now. And then, yep, width, height, the total number. We had 9 cards in our set, right? So let's just take that down to 9. And then the back is hidden is fine. And then we're just going to import this. Oh, it says it wants it back. Okay, so let's just go find it back real quick. Let's go to my document, or sorry, desktop documents, my games, Tabletop Simulator, saves, parts. There we go, master back. So we'll select that, upload it. Now it has a back, it's going to be happy. And there it is. Okay, so here is the back of the card. When I flip it over, it's going to take a second, but voila. We have now imported the 9 cards that I showed you in the Tabletop Simulator. And there are a variety of different functions that this program uses that are pretty amazing, and now we can actually play test our game. So we just want to import more and more cards, whatever we're testing, and this is essentially the same thing as print and playing for us. You know, it has a lot of cool features. But that is essentially it. We just imported a set of event cards into Tabletop Simulator, and that basically concludes this video. I'm sure we're going to have some, there'll be some questions that will be asked. But yeah, that essentially sums everything up, and I hope you enjoyed this video.